In a small, sleepy town, where life moved slowly and everyone knew each other's names, there lived a boy named Aariz. Aariz was unlike any other child in the neighborhood. From the moment he could speak, he had a habit of humming soft tunes, melodies that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside him, from a place that no one else could see. His voice was delicate, fragile, and sometimes it barely carried over the rustling leaves outside his window. People often laughed, calling him strange. "Why do you sing like that?" they would tease. "It's too soft, too quiet, no one can hear you properly." But Aariz didn't stop. Singing wasn't for anyone else. It was for him. It was the language of his heart. One rainy evening, while exploring the attic of his old house, Aariz stumbled upon a dusty, forgotten piano. It was almost hidden beneath old sheets and boxes of memories from the past. Curious, he brushed off the dust and pressed a key. The sound was low at first, trembling, like the first drop of rain hitting a dry roof. But as he pressed another key, and then another, something magical happened. The room seemed to awaken. The soft notes bounced around the attic, filling the air with warmth and emotion. Aariz's heart raced. He felt a connection he had never known before. Music wasn't just a sound, it was a story, a voice that could speak louder than words ever could. For weeks, Aariz practiced in secret. The piano became his sanctuary, a place where he could express feelings that he didn't know how to say otherwise. His songs told stories of joy, pain, hope, and dreams. He would sit for hours, letting the melody flow through him. Occasionally, the faint sound of his music would drift out the attic window and into the streets below. People walking past would pause, their steps slowing, ears straining to catch the soft, haunting notes. One evening, an elderly woman, sitting alone in her small garden, heard the melody. Tears streamed down her face as she listened. She hadn't felt such beauty in years. Without realizing it, Aariz had begun to touch hearts, even without trying. As weeks turned into months, Aariz learned to combine his voice with the piano. He would hum softly, then play, letting the two merge into something ethereal. Each song became a story. He didn't need to explain, the notes carried meaning that words could never fully capture. One day, a poster appeared in the town square, "Local Talent Contest, Show Your Heart." Aariz stared at the words. He wanted to participate, but fear gripped him. What if people laughed? What if his soft voice wasn't enough? His mother, seeing the hesitation in his eyes, kneeled beside him. "Sing from your heart, not from your fear," she whispered. "Your voice is yours, let it shine." The day of the contest arrived. The town hall buzzed with excitement. Children performed dances, adults recited poems, and musicians strummed guitars. Aariz's turn came. He stepped onto the stage, hands trembling slightly, and sat at the piano. The audience was large, but he felt calm. Closing his eyes, he took a deep breath and began to play. The first notes were soft, almost hesitant, but then his voice joined in, a tender, delicate tone that carried through the hall. He sang a story of a boy who felt alone, of dreams that seemed unreachable, of hope that glimmered in darkness. The audience fell silent. They were not just listening, they were feeling. Some covered their mouths to hold back tears, others leaned forward, eyes wide, completely captivated. Judges exchanged glances, their usual expressions of boredom or evaluation replaced by awe. Aariz didn't just sing a song, he painted emotions in the air, made them tangible. Every note, every word, every pause told a story. He sang not for applause, not for recognition, but for the joy of sharing something pure, something real. Halfway through, Aariz began humming a tune he had never played aloud before. It was soft, yet powerful, echoing through the hall like a gentle wave. The notes intertwined with the story of a lonely boy finding courage, a town rediscovering hope, and a heart learning to believe again. People wept openly. The elderly woman who had heard him in the garden sat in the front row, clutching her hands to her chest, her eyes sparkling with tears. The audience could feel the healing power of music flowing through them, connecting them in a way that words alone could never. When the final note faded, silence filled the hall for a heartbeat, then erupted into a wave of applause, cheers, and tears. Aariz opened his eyes, blinking at the faces around him. He felt warmth, not from the lights or the crowd, but from knowing that he had shared something real, something that mattered. Judges stood, clapping, some wiping tears from their eyes. They hadn't just seen a performance, they had witnessed magic. Aariz won the contest, but the real victory was far greater than any trophy or ribbon. His song lingered in the hearts of everyone present. People hummed it in the streets, shared it with friends, and remembered it long after the contest ended. Aariz learned a simple truth. Music and storytelling are gifts, and when combined, they have the power to heal, inspire, and unite. From that day onward, Aariz continued to sing, not for fame, not for applause, but for the joy of sharing his heart. His melodies became a bridge between people, a reminder that even the quietest voice can echo in millions of hearts. He traveled to other towns, performing in small halls, schools, and gardens, always blending story and song. Each performance was unique, a journey of emotion, laughter, tears, and hope. Years later, people would remember the boy with the fragile voice who touched souls without trying, who proved that talent is not just about strength or volume, but about sincerity, emotion, and heart. Aariz's story became a legend, not because he was famous, but because he reminded everyone that inside every quiet, unnoticed person is a melody waiting to be heard, a story longing to be told. And so, the boy who once sat by the window humming to himself became a symbol of hope, courage, and the magic that happens when storytelling meets music. His songs continued to echo, inspiring generations to find their own voice, to share their own story, and to believe in the extraordinary power of a single, heartfelt melody. Because in the end, it wasn't just music that Aariz shared. It was a piece of his soul, and that is something no one can ever forget.